All right, in this video, we're going to implement a few more of the linked list methods. First, let's start with size. That it just says returns the size of the list. Remember, we have size as a field in here. So basically, this is just a get method for the size field. And so it's very simple. All we have to do to implement that is to do public int size and then return the size. So that's it on that one. I guess let's test that out. So we're here, we'll have to print that out. System.out.println words.size. I think at that point it's 12, not totally sure. Yeah, so size 12. And just verify all that looks right. Yep, so the size is 12 at that point, and so that looks fine. Everything's good with that. Next up is the get method. That just returns the value at a given index, and we've basically already done most of the hard work here with the get node method. So we just given an index, we just use the get node method to get the node, and then we return the element part out of that. So all right, so it's going to be public E, that's the type parameter that we're using for this int, and then index. And then all we have to do is to do get node index. So what will happen is when an index is fed into this method, then it will call the get node method. That will bounce up here, right? And then if the index is out of bounds, it will throw that exception. So so that requirement for get, that it throw an index out of bounds assumption, is satisfied by get node. That will return the node, and then we just have to fish the element out of there. So that's just dot elements. Oops, extra E in there. Okay, so let's take a look at this one, and let's add in a few calls in there. Let's do system.out.println words.get0. That'll get the first element. System.out.println words.get words.size -1. That should return the last element. And we'll just do some random number in the middle. System.out.println words.get. I don't know, let's just go 5. Okay, so that's what the list looks like at the moment. So system.out.println words.get0, that should print J. Words.get size -1, so size is 12. So size -1 is 11. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That should print an L. And then words.get 5, that's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's D. Let's take a look and step through that one just so we can see how it works. So we're just calling get node index 5, so that's going to call the get node method. It's going to bounce up there. It's going to check the index to see if it's out of bounds. It's not. So it's going to start at the head, and it's going to work its way down until it gets to index 5. So with this little for loop, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's reached reached its destination. So it's going to return the node. And then we're going to pick out the elements part out of that, which is a D. And there we go. Okay. All right, so that's get node, and then, or not get node, but get, right? The next one is set. All right, and so that's going to be public e set int index e elements. Okay, so for this particular one, we are just setting the value, right, at a particular index. The size of the list is not going to change here, right? So this is kind of like accessing an array, although it's less efficient than accessing an array because we have to traverse the list, right, in order to do this. We also need to return the value, old value here. Again, this is kind of based on the way the Java interface is set up. Okay. All right. So again, we're going to let get node do all the hard work. So we're going to create a variable called node, and then we're going to call get node with the index. Notice just like with get, that get node will throw an index out of bounds exception if the index is out of range. Okay. So again, that's kind of nice. We don't have to do that here. All right. So now we found the node, right? Assuming that we made it back to here, we found the node where we want to change the element. So we need to return that. So we need to save it in a variable. And so the way we access that is with this node and then dot element. So that gives us the payload of that node. We save that so we can return it. Next up, we're going to change the value to what we want to change it to. So take node and set its element to whatever element comes in here. So this is the parameter element. This is the field of the node object, right? And then now that we have changed it to what we want to, we can return the old element. Okay, so let's try a few of those calls. Let's make sure that compiles. So that looks okay, and then we'll try a few of calls here. System.out.println. Actually, let's just copy these calls here. So we'll do system.out.println words.set at index 0. Let's go with m. At index words.size -1. So the last one, let's go with n. And then at index 5, let's go with O. Okay. Oops. Got an extra parenthesis in there, I think. And I need another one here. Okay. All right, so I'm going to run all the way down to this line 16. All right, and then, okay, so on 17, right? So words.set 0m. So what we should see is that this at index 0, we have an m, and then it should print the old value j down here. So m here prints a j. That's what we want. Now we do the last one. So down here it should print an L, and then this value should change to an N. So N here prints an L. All right, and then let's step through this one. So this is at index 5. So that's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right where the D is located, right? We're going to replace that D with an O in there. All right, so stepping through that, we create this variable node. Starts at the head and works its way down to index 5. So that's the node that we want to change. All right, then we're going to save that old element out of there so we can return it later. And then now here's where we actually do the change, right? We're going to change node.element, so that's the D, right? We're going to change that to an O. All looks good. And then we're going to return the old element right here. You can see that the old element is D. So it'll print that D down here, and you don't need to print that out. I'm just doing that so for example, so we can see that actually it's doing what we want it to do. Okay, I think that's it for this one. In the next ones, we'll take a look at index of and contains.